and you are tapped in live to the Just Levina podcast. Today, I have an amazing special guest, and I am going to let her introduce herself and tell you guys all about her.
Hi everyone, my name is Mari. I am new to LA. I've been here for like 2 years. I am a dancer, mover, creator. I have some music that's come out too this past 2 months. So yeah, I'm just an artist here, like a lot of people in LA.
I love it. You guys, her energy, like everything. If you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, her hair, like that is how her personality is. Like it's giving everything. So we already know, what do we do? I'm gonna tell you what today is. I'm gonna tell you what the holiday is and why it's important. So today, November 16th, is actually National Black Marketers Day. So what that is the holiday celebrates the achievements of Black marketers in America, and it marks the role of Black culture and the part that it's played in influencing the marketing industry. So something that a lot of people don't know is that the BMC, the Black Marketers Coalition, that they created this holiday so that they could organize events during this week, and then also have fun in doing what they love to do, which is marketing, but kind of showcasing like the culture, showcasing how it's had its impact and how they hope to have impact in the future. So I thought that was amazing to share, of course, with all my BIPOC community and my people out there that, today is really special. So if you have any marketers in your group, in your family, wherever they're at, just make sure you give them a shout out today, because today is to celebrate them and celebrate their impact that they have all over the world. Social media, broadcasting, film, television, all of it. The list goes on and on.
Yeah,
So
everywhere.
I know you are a part of the Latinx community.
Yes.
Me as well, half of me. But are there any holidays like that I feel like in America we don't always know important holidays that celebrate culture and like their impact on media or the industry?
Yeah.
Is there any like that?
So besides our Hispanic Heritage Month here in America, I I even as a Latina, I don't even know about any like events like this, which is great that you're informing your viewers on it, because even for the Latina community, there's not a lot of these things that, first of all, that we know about or that are even out there for us.
No, that's good. So I don't know. Maybe we need to create one.
I know, right? Start researching some
make
stuff.
make it some holidays, because I do think it's important. And I will say, like, because I'm Puerto Rican, which a lot of people don't know, I'm half Puerto Rican. I don't know Spanish, so don't come for me in the comments, y'all talking about, yo, Levina, I didn't even know you was Puerto. I know you didn't know. I'm still trying to figure it out too. So it's fine. It's okay.
It's there. It's there. It's in the blood. That's all that matters.
Yes. But it's just one of those things where I always am like looking and researching, and I'm not close with that part of my family, but I always feel like it's something that like I want my kids to know. About part of their heritage. So I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna have to look that up and see if I talk about it on Friday.
And it's such a big thing, because that happened to me too. Like, I moved to the United States when I was 6 years old. I'm from Chile. I was born there. And when I tell you, my parents Americanized this so much. I mean, I speak fluent Spanish, and that was in our house, we only spoke Spanish. Like en la mesa, you only speak Spanish. That was it. But everything else, I didn't really tap into my Latina roots until I got to college. And then all the dancing and all the work that was in my body that I didn't even know was there was this Latin fusion dance. And from there, that's where I was like, okay, I need to tap into my own shit too, and be like this Americanized mindset that we're like fed here in America.
Yes.
It was what I needed to step away from. And now I'm here in LA.
Now you can't stop her.
Latina, right?
Now look, no holds, none, no barriers. So of course I got to talk to you about it, because like Madi said, you guys, she is a dancer. Well, she's an artist, but she is definitely a dancer, and she is good. Might I add, I might have to get some lessons, but but I think there's this huge conversation right now on social media, in media in general, about the objectification of women. And as somebody who, you use your body to tell a story, and as art, like I do it in acting, I feel like it is a little bit different. It's on the same wavelength, but not the same plane. But what do you think that actually plays a part in the objectification of women? Because I know some men will say, well, it's the way women dress, it's the way they're provocative, it's the way they take photos and post videos. And then on the female side, we're like, well, I just want to be free to share my personality and my art in whatever way that I'm feeling in that moment. So what do you think?
Objectification towards women, I think, is like this whole societal thing. If men back in the day weren't fed that women had to be covered up, or even till this day, because this is still happening in the Middle East, right? Like right now, it's a huge thing that's happening where women can't be themselves or feel free to wear whatever they want or even show a part of their skin, right? And it's just this, like what I was saying earlier, this like, so this, everyone's feeding you these things like constantly. If a woman's wearing a tight dress, she's asking for attention. If she wears too much makeup, she's insecure about herself. So these are things that are constantly being told to us. And then especially in the male situation, right, they're always like, oh, the girl's on the pole. Like, how many times I've heard, like, even some of my husband's friends will be like, oh, how do you feel about Maria posting like herself on a pole on her Instagram? And I'm like, I'm just dancing. Like, I'm showing, I mean, I feel good about myself. I was able to put my leg up or get myself up on the pole. Like, I'm like, yes, I did it. And that's my accomplishment. That's the way I show my accomplishment, you know? But people have these things, these like, they're fed these things throughout their entire life where the women have, if they're too, like I said, their dress is too tight, they're trying to get all this attention, or if they're a stripper, they're just doing this. So it's just like, how do we change that perspective? And I think it's a hard thing to change because that thing is always there, and now with social media is there too. So, like, I don't know, how do we change that?
I don't even know if we can. I feel like it's one of those things that may potentially just always exist. And then maybe it doesn't exist to you directly. Like, you said something really dope that I think happens with me all the time, is that, like, you said your husband's friends, but you did not say your husband. And I think that is the biggest part of the conversation, is like, some people will be so harsh on these women, and they're like, oh, she's objectifying herself, she's doing this. And it's like, but if the person in her life is comfortable and she's comfortable, shut up. Like, it literally has nothing to do with you. It's not your business at this point. It's not paying your bills. It's not like
why are you even questioning it? Like,
because what is the point in bringing it up? It's literally, now I do feel like we as women can take some things a little too far. So I have no problem. And I told you this. You're just like, girl, can I cuss? Can I? I'm like, yes, no, be your authentic self. I'm pro everybody being their authentic self. What I am not pro is people specifically using those things only for attention. So, like, you don't have a story behind it. You don't have a purpose. You don't have an intent. Your only intent is to gain attention. And then in you gaining attention, when somebody meets you, now because of their perception of you, you're like, oh no, this is not me. This is not who I am. And I think that is where we as women have to be honest, that sometimes we can cause confusion on the other side when we're not solid in what it actually means to us. Because I feel like when we're like you and you're like, no, this is my art, this is why I do it, this is what makes me comfortable. Y'all, I don't know if y'all know this, but like, pole work is not like, we have stairs here in the studio to get to the floor, and we all are winded by the time we get to if we have to take the stairs, we're winded. But that's what it is for any type of like exercise or fitness, and pole work is one of those things. You can't be no little skinny. You need some muscle on it. Like, this is core strength. This is like, there is things happening. And so I want people to know that, because as we be sitting around, there'd be people, you 500 pounds and you sitting behind the screen. How we know if you can pull yourself up on the pole? You got all this stuff to say. Like, what? So I applaud you for that. I do just think, though, we have to get to the place where we understand that we can have a part in the way that people see it as a perspective if we don't have a solid perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that's such a hard, I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, when we talk about like the perspective that we give, you have to be so solid in what you're showing. Like now with social media, attention is a huge thing. Like if you don't have these many followers, I don't know how many castings I've gone to that because I only have
Yes.
like 3,000 followers, they're like, no, cut, you don't have enough followers, right?
Yes.
So then those are the things that people are like, well, then I need to post all these crazy things on Instagram or all these things on to try to get other people's attention on
Yes.
TikTok or whatever it may be. And then you're doing all these things for the wrong reason. And then you
Yes.
create this version of yourself that's really not who you are. And authenticity is
Yeah.
such a authenticity is such a big, at least for me, it's such a big thing. But then I also think of like actors, like you
Yeah.
guys are going through all these different characters in life too. So then I think, well, do people do that in their life too? Like they have their TikTok character, they have their Instagram character.
And so that's the thing. So that leads me to my other question, which is where do you feel like the lines get blurred between expression and then just not leaving anything to the imagination?
Yeah. I it depends, because I think if we were to just ask this to like a panel, I
Yeah.
think people, the first thing they think of is like someone that works is like a stripper or in the what's it called, in the sex industry, right? That's the first thing people think of.
Right.
Like, oh, they gave up their whole body for somebody, and then what if you take them home or you go home with them and then you just really not meeting anything new? But I don't
Right.
think that's true. Like a person is so much more than this physical body. Like
Yes,
a
100%.
stripper or someone that dances or someone that is a go-go dancer, for instance, for myself, like I go-go dance and I burlesque dance everywhere. But just because you've seen this part of me doesn't mean that you've seen like my inside, like
Yes.
who I am as a person,
Yes.
what I think of or how I go through life, what are some of my goals and my intentions throughout life. So I think even if you do this physical body, you show it, it doesn't mean that you're already like not leaving anything else for the
Right.
imagination.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good perspective. And I do feel like something that you said that was really on point is just like, even though you see this part of me, you don't know my heart. And I think that's the biggest thing with social media is that we see someone and now we feel, and Kanisha and I were talking about this on the last episode, which is like social media is the highlight reel. It's whatever somebody is choosing to share with you.
Yeah.
Whatever they desire for you to see, that is what is being shown. But on the flip side, you don't know the person. Like, unless this person is actually in your circle, you don't know, like, their heart's desires, their visions, their dreams. You don't know any of that stuff. So everything else is kind of just judgment.
Yeah.
Like, and
An
it's like,
assumption. Yeah. Like you just
yes.
assume people are a certain way. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. It's like the saying, like, you can't judge a book by the cover. Like that is so true.
Yes.
Like that Instagram feed is your cover and that's it.
Exactly. And that's all it is. It's not deeper than that unless you know the person and that's the stuff I say all the time. It's like the people who are closest to me, they know so much more. They know like all the intricate details of my life. They know my ups, they know my downs. They know the stress of the journey. They know if I've been depressed. They know that they know all those things. And so y'all better stop being out here judging. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not guilty, but let's do away with that. Yeah. So, you're married. I'm married. You're actually probably the first married person that I've had on the podcast, which is really dope. But I want to know, like, do you think relationships are an integral part of life? Like, do you think we need them?
So this is also like when you would ask someone like what a relationship is, they think instantly like a partner relationship.
Yes.
And I think relationships in general, I don't think people think of like your best friends, the relationship with your dog or your cat.
Yes.
Like I think in dance in college, they used to always ask us, what is the relationship between you and your prop or you or these two people dancing together, right? There's always a connection. There's always an interaction. There's always happening something is happening between you, whether it be an object, like the
Yes.
relationship between us and this couch, or the relationship between us and the person behind the camera, you know? So
Yes.
there's always that happening in life, whether it be like a 5-minute relationship that you had, like when you connect with someone at a bar, that's a connection that you created, and that's still a type of relationship that happened, whether it be 5 minutes and then you never see that person again.
Yes.
I think if you were to go through life without relationships, I don't know. I can't. I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm a people person, and even people that I like. My husband's very what's it called, introverted. So he has like a very small group of friends compared to me. I have friends forever because I love people. I love talking to people. I love in like, you know, having these conversations and things like that. And I think it's so important to be able to just speak to somebody, to have that
Yes.
person that's there. I think that's why therapy is such a
Oh
good
my God.
thing,
It'll change your
because you're
life.
just talking to someone, you're just
Yes.
letting it all out. Juan, my husband, he always talks about, he's in tech, so he's codes, and they have this thing called the rubber ducky. Now, a lot of coders are like introverted people. They're on their computer all the time and they're thinking about constant things in their head, right? And the rubber ducky is just literally a rubber ducky that they just talk out loud to. And when you just talk out loud to something or someone, you hear the things that you don't
Yes.
like process in your head. So I think relationships are so important, and they've really made my life so much easier because my life's been crazy. So the beautiful moments that I have with people is what makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And worth living. It's,
Yeah.
girl, it's amazing. We'll have to talk offline because these parallels are out of control. But the thing about it is, I think I wanted to talk about it because I feel like right now there's so many times where I see women are like, I don't need a man. I don't need anybody. You know, we have this quote which is like, no new friends.
Yeah.
Like, we have all these things, and I just be amazed because I'm like, if I didn't have the relationships that I had, easily I would have gone crazy by now.
Yeah.
Easily I wouldn't have gone crazy because even the relationships that sometimes we have with family are not the same. Like, there's a scripture in the Bible and it literally says, like, who's my brother, who's my sister, like, who's my father,
Yeah.
who's my mother. And it's people who have the same beliefs as you
Yeah.
do. And so when I think about the importance of relationships, I'd be like, man, we want to walk around so bad and feel like we can do it for ourselves. But the reality, everything that happened in the pandemic, is like we forgot.
Yeah.
Like, we forgot what it was like to be alone in a house by
with no
yourself
one.
with nobody there. And I'm like, yo, we
Yeah.
have to stop this. And then we have to stop hyping each other up about it.
About, yeah, like
yeah,
you don't need nobody. You don't need,
exactly.
which is, I mean, I think people take it to like literal. Like, I think a person can be an individual and have
Yes.
their moment. I get that.
Yes.
When it comes to genders, the whole gender, I don't know. I identify as pansexual, meaning like who I love is not a person, whether it be a male, female. Like it's just the human themselves, and that's it, right? So I think like you don't necessarily need to be like this. It's been such a big thing. Like, you don't need no man. You don't need no man. But sometimes we need that. It doesn't necessarily need to be a man, but it feels good to have someone on your
Yes.
side. It feels good
Yes.
to have someone that's there to listen to your creative thoughts, or see a different perspective. Like, my husband and I have such different perspectives. So when I talk to him about my creative things, he sees it in a different way. So being able to hear that, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or, oh, I didn't see it in that way. And that's so valid. That's so good. It
Yes.
makes you grow as an artist versus like staying as this like one point of view, like type of artist or
Yes.
human being. Yeah.
Exactly. I agree. I think everybody should be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Like, you should wake up in the morning. You should have motivations for yourself. You should have goals, whether it be daily goals, weekly goals, annual goals, whatever. But I definitely agree. Like, it feels good to have that alternate perspective. And I, for one, I'm just a person. I feel like there's no way that a person can be successful if everyone around them always only says amen.
Yeah.
Like if everybody is always only on your side, only has your perspective, can only say, "Oh, you're right, you're right, you're right." I've literally cut off friendships from people who would be like, "Oh no, no, you're right, you're right, you're right." I'd be like, "No, there's no way I'm always right. Like there's no possible way in this world." And the more people you have around you who are like that, the less successful you'll be, because you won't know, or you won't have a genuine perspective on the outside world, because you'll be asking, they'll be like, "No, no, you're good, you're okay." And it's like, no, no, what?
Yeah, and I don't think people understand how, like, I'm so big on community. The dance company that I work for is an activist dance company. So all of the everything that we do has to deal with community. It has to deal with a BIPOC community, and bringing us together. And I don't think people understand, like, you walk around in life and everything that has been built around you was not you.
Exactly.
Like you and your friends can go ahead and help each other out in every way. Like, I wouldn't have been able to be on this podcast if it wasn't for my friend Justin, which I met through Stanley, which, so it's this constant thing. And I very much believe in the identity thing, like being your own individual self. The codependency didn't work for me when I was younger, and I had a really bad relationship. But being in a new relationship with my husband has made me be a very intense individual. But it's two individuals coming together that is so beautiful. It is so beautiful.
I love it, and I agree. I don't even have anything to add. I just agree. So, okay, we use this thing in our modern American vernacular, which is like, yes, queen, yes, king, like all these things. So what do you feel like? Because I feel like we use the term loosely. Like, obviously, we don't live in Britain or England. We don't have a king and a queen here. But what do you feel like the real definition of king or queen is?
That one's hard. I was thinking about it earlier, and I'm like, it's right now, I think the word king or queen is just like an uplifting word, which I appreciate. It's like, it makes you feel good. You're like, oh yeah. I love when people call me king. I'm like, yes, even better. Like, come on, right? I love it. But like you said, it's so loosely used, and I don't think the meaning of what, I mean, back in the day, it was hierarchy too. Right. So there's like kind of this double standard with this whole king or queen thing because of what. Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Right. So like it feels good, but then I also think of this whole hierarchy thing that comes with it, and this colonizer thing that come with it, because I mean, if we really think about it, Jesus. Like, it didn't come from, like when the Native Americans, and like when you think about all this, like, the natives it wasn't about hierarchy. It was about community, and it was about this equal spread of, whatever it was that they had, because it wasn't really hierarchy. It was the equal spread of it, right? So there was no queen and king, or whoever was higher, whoever. Maybe there was like, I don't even know if there was a chief, because I feel like that shit was also, we never know, right? Like, we don't even know. That shit was also in our history books, which was made from white people, and it was just like, yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. It feels good. It does feel good. I do love like being like, yes, queen. But I don't know that one. I don't know how to answer to you for you.
When I was thinking about it, sometimes I'd be writing these questions. I'd be like, yo, what are you talking about? But it just came to me, and I was thinking, and I do think it's now a term that is just very loosely used. It has come to like the equivalent of like bro or sis. Like when people say bro or sis, it's the equivalent of them saying yes, queen, yes, king. And I think that it's great to have it be uplifting. I wish, for me, because the definition of it, which is similar to what you said, is that is that we used it for people who were actually actively using whatever platform they have to uplift other
Yeah.
people and be willing to take the heat of whatever may come their way.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a big thing on social media and cancel culture is the
That's a
fact
whole
that,
other thing.
yes, like people, we all build a platform. We all have a brand. We all, are building, hopefully, to be our best selves or the version of ourselves that we feel is the best. And when we use these words, sometimes I'll see it and I'll see it used for somebody, and then I won't see that person do anything to help their fellow man.
Yeah.
Like, there was this one question on TikTok a while ago, and it was just, one of those videos that you just kind of answer. And it was like, what do you think is something that has gone missing from the world? And I was like, common decency.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like common decency is completely gone. Like,
Yeah.
people do not have common decency anymore.
Oh.
Like, they troll, they say whatever they want to say, and sometimes they'll do it behind a screen, but sometimes we experience them doing it in public. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to call somebody a king or a queen, I would want to know full well that this person cares about their fellow man. Like, they care about the person, uplifting another person. Like, if I call somebody a queen or a king, I've seen them comment on other people's posts being empowering.
Yeah.
I've seen them being like, yo, this is dope, this is fire, or yo, keep going. And that's something that I was also having a previous conversation with Kanisha about, is because, sometimes you get to this place, and thank God for Justin, like, introducing us, because that was really great. But sometimes I'm literally out here, I'm sending messages to people on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I love your content. I would love for you to show up. But even if you don't show up, like, just know I still love the content. And that's, I'm not going to unfollow you because now you said no. Like, I literally still believe in what you're doing. And I think that I wish we had that more. Like, people, because sometimes, yes, people have reached out to me or DM'd me, and we just haven't been on the same wavelength. And then that person will just, like, unfollow. Yeah. And, like, take off their likes. And I'm like, okay, that seems like
that's a little extra.
That's a lot. But I understand that they don't necessarily have the behavior of what I would say a king or a queen has.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's so like, this can't, like what you're talking about, this cancel culture, or this like, oh, she doesn't want to work with me, oh my God, she's a bitch. Like, it's not that. Like, sometimes it is okay. We have to remember that not everybody has the same mindset. We don't all believe in the same thing. We don't all understand each other. But co-living with each other is gonna still happen. Like, you're still here and I'm still here. Why not, like, it be like, okay, I don't necessarily believe in that, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that you as a person is completely terrible and I'm gonna erase you from my life. Like, because there's aspects of you that are still maybe can benefit me, and we can still talk and understand and things like that, and understand each other. Like, my spirituality is far from what this big thing God is, right? But that doesn't mean that a fellow friend that may be a Christian that really believes in God is gonna like completely be erased from my life because that's what they believe in. No, like, that's their belief, and I like them because they're funny, right? Like, that's it.
It don't have nothing to do with, and that's what I'm saying. Some things don't have anything to do with the other. And when people can stay in their lane and understand what they have to offer to the relationship or to the conversation or to whatever it is, I feel like it just changes the perspective of people having to feel like they have to do something or they have to think. And I understand that birds of a feather flock together, so to speak. But at the same time, it's like there's such an eclectic group of human beings that exist on earth. Like, everybody that exists has something special to offer the world, no matter what it is. And because that's true, relationships can be built or fostered off of anything, and you don't have to judge. You don't have to judge the next person. So, speaking of judgment, Andrew Tate, I feel like he gets so much hate. Like, if I've ever seen somebody get a lot of hate, it was Andrew Tate, and that kind of rhymes. Ooh. But
in bars out here.
But listen, he gets so much hate But I saw this video and I sent it to you.
Yeah.
And in the video, he was talking about how, like, can't fight and won't fight are two different things. Like, and who you should have and want around you. So I want to know, like, what you thought about the video and if you agree or disagree.
I was cracking up at that video. So I practice Muay Thai. Like I fight like on a like this morning, my ass was getting beat this morning, right? And I mean, it's definitely been a growing process. I've been at it for like about a year and a half. And like the first time I sparred or I like took punches to the face with gloves, obviously, it was intense. I'm working at I go to obviously at a martial arts gym. It's like 25% female and the rest are all males. So first of all, trauma, because man hitting you is not in the face. It's not easy to deal with. But the more I did it, the more you get comfortable with it, and you know that it's not coming from a place of hate, but it's coming up from a place of training and technical work and things like that. So when I was watching the video and he was like, man, if my homeboy is like, someone hits him in the face, I'm gonna come in and hit.
Yes.
And every time I'm out, I'm like almost waiting for it. Like
to happen.
Yeah, to happen. I'm like, I wish someone would try me, because I know that with just one punch, you'd be on the floor. But we also talk about MMA has such like it's like dance. It has such a disciplinary like foundation, where our coaches always tell us the first thing you do is not hit, but it's use your words. Like if someone's coming at you or something like that, or like post them up, don't come close to me, like, or say out loud, hey, I do know how to fight, like relax, almost like a warning.
Yeah.
But if my friend's getting hit or anybody no. The first thing I'm going in.
Look, gloves up. So as y'all can see, Madi is about that life. Listen, I love it. The thing about it is, this is how I agree. And people see me and they be like, Levina, have you ever been in a fight? Do you even know what that? And I'll be like, y'all, I just want y'all to understand, everybody watching this live, the Lord has redeemed me. Like, I am a changed human being. But this woman right now that's sitting here, the one that's married with kids, she didn't used to exist all the time.
Yeah.
And so if something like, I have a friend, my friend Jessica, and she is probably one of the most professional people that I know.
Yeah.
Like, she does real estate. She's amazing. Like, she's just top tier. But she literally will be like, something happens and she'd be like, oh, so we got to pull up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got to pull up.
My girls are all like that.
We got to pull up.
Like that, yeah.
And every time she says that, I'd be like, yep. Because there's nothing in my mind. If I'm out, whether I'm with my friends or even if I'm with my man, and I feel like sometimes women in public will try and test men more.
Yeah.
Because, that's just the way of life right now. And people just feel like there's a target on their back or whatever.
Yeah.
But you best believe I'm there. Yeah. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm going to observe the situation. I'm probably going to give a warning like, hey, you need to chill out.
Yeah.
And after that, it is what
it is. What it is. Exactly. Like, you on the floor.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't come for me unless I send for you.
Exactly.
It's one of those things, but I love that you said that. And I love that. Like, I actually happen to like Andrew Tate. I don't agree with all of his ideals, but I do like the fact that he is genuine about what he believes. Like, he stands on it. Like,
and he's passionate about that shit too.
Yes.
I was watching the video and I was cracking up because he's just like, passionate about what he was talking about.
Yes, it's for real. Like, I believe him. So, yeah. Okay. I was listening to some girls on a podcast and they were talking about sugar daddies. And it's the thing, child, people be on TikTok teaching people how to get sugar daddies. Now I'll be like, yo, this is crazy. This is a market.
It really is.
But they do it. And so I wanted to ask, obviously we're both married, but would you rather a sugar daddy with a stipend or a partner who makes, I don't know, let's say 70, 80K a year? Not
like, can I have
six
both
figures.
know,
Listen, Money
you
said,
share the
I
time.
need both. I can't.
I'm like, split the time, you know? One day here, one day there wouldn't be bad. I don't know. That one's so I was when I was when I was younger. We're so young, we're so cute, or
Listen.
whatever. When I lived in Miami, the sugar daddy thing was a huge thing, especially when I was like 21. And I still have to this day, one of my really good friends, that was how she was making her living. Like, and she wasn't even necessarily doing anything with these sugar daddies, but she was making fucking money off of these men. And like, I have no girl. If I used to do, when I did a burlesque show, like last month, there was this old guy. He fell in love with me, and he was like, "Please, I'll take you out to dinner anywhere." He gave me his number. He's like, "I'm sorry, my wife's calling," blah blah blah. So I was like, "Well, it would be nice to go to a nice dinner and get paid $300 just to go for dinner and not have to do anything." But unfortunately, it's not always like that.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know, because
in another life,
extra money sounds real nice, that I don't have to work for.
Listen, I think we under and overestimate the realness about how real life just is. Like I do have a friend who, she had, I wouldn't necessarily call him a sugar daddy, but we'll just say a financial investor. And she wasn't doing anything for the money. It was literally surrounded by companionship. Like he wanted somebody to talk to. He wanted somebody to share certain things with, and he just didn't have that at the same time. And he, happened to want it to be a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And so I get that. I think where we as women get it twisted is we sometimes have this belief like, okay, yeah, I want a sugar daddy. And you'll, like you said, 21.
Yeah.
That's young. But don't spend your whole youth trying to get a sugar daddy. And now you pushing 35 and you're confused.
Yeah, because you're like, how do I? What do I?
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Yeah. How do I? What do I? Where is this supposed to go? What's supposed to happen now? And we be out here looking real crazy. And there's, who knows what statistics are real, but they were saying, a lot of men said, like, the most beautiful that a woman is, prospectively, is between the ages of 18 to 25. Perspective. I don't know who they asked in this poll.
I know, right? I feel like
I don't know who they asked in this poll.
The older I get, the more fine I get. Shit.
I be looking at pictures. I be like, damn, my face is settling in. Like I thought I used to be cute, but now I feel a little bit better about this. It's making some sense now. Right. But I'm like, man, I don't know who they took the poll from, but if that is the truth, based on this poll, then you would not want to waste your time after the age of 25. Trying to do that, or trying to make that a goal, or having that as the only goal, because sometimes you can have a conversation with somebody and their only goal is to get somebody with 6 figures. And I'd be like, okay, yeah. What else do you enjoy? Do you have hobbies? Do you like...
Is there anything else?
Yeah. They'd be like, oh no, this is just what I want. That's the type of life I want to live. I want to live a luxury lifestyle. And I'm like, and then...
Yeah. I'm like, do you know? I don't think people understand that gets boring.
Yes.
Like, you're just in a house. It's great. It's beautiful. But like, what are you doing?
What else?
Like, cool, you go on vacation all the time, but then like, doesn't that get boring? I don't know. I think it would get boring. I'm such a creative person. And first of all, I have my ADHD is like my anxiety and all of that. Like when I was a kid, my parents didn't understand. And now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, the signs were there.
It was like,
all clear. You just didn't know. But, I lost my train of thought.
You were saying... Yes, you were saying you're creative and that would get boring.
Yeah, so then like if I'm not stimulating that part of my brain, like what's gonna happen? Like I can't even, I call my husband my Splenda daddy because he makes, he's a coder. He makes his 6 figures. He's living his best life. But Like, that's like my fake sugar daddy. Like when I'm like, I need money, I'll ask him for it. But at the same time, like I'm trying, like what we talked about earlier, this individual self, like I
Yes.
do not, I want to
Yes.
be able to look at my bank account or my life in general and be like, I can afford a lifestyle by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, I have a nice partner that I can enjoy
Mm-hmm.
it with or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. Like I could not just, I feel like even like as sugar babies, you're almost just living your life for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like I don't condone it though, because I mean, man, if I could just find me a sugar daddy and I didn't have to worry about anything, sometimes that sounds so good. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
that life, that sounds like the life. But then it's just like you're almost giving your whole self up for somebody else. Like
Yes.
that's where do you draw the line of giving yourself up for somebody for money? And like, I don't know, I don't think money is that important either. Like I grew up with no money, so I know life was good without money either way.
Yes.
It was a little difficult, but it was still like family was there, loved ones were
Yeah.
there. Like then sometimes you give up everything for money and then you're stuck in this life that's kind of like,
Broken. Yeah.
it's this like bland life.
I agree. I think that's a perspective that I've had. I feel like as I've gotten older and as I've had like situations happen to me where I'm like, what is more important? If I had to balance it out, is this really petty? Yes.
Yeah.
Because obviously, yes, money money can solve a lot of problems. And there's a lot of people in this life, me included, who have thought like, man, if I just could get to this amount and
Yeah.
if I could create this amount of success, if I could do this much, then I would be so much better.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like I had COVID earlier this year, and then I literally almost died post
Oh my
COVID.
gosh.
And when that happened, immediately I was like, oh my God, none of this would have mattered. Like, it just wouldn't have
Yeah.
mattered. I just wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been able to see my husband again. I wouldn't have been able to see my kids again, like in a flash,
Yeah.
gone. And so now I still have goals and I have hopes and I have desires. And I hope to, live a life that is abundant. But I can say abundant now and not living a life full of money.
Money.
Like not living a
Yeah.
life that's rich by financial standards. Like I want an abundant life. I want wholeness in my family and in my friends. And yeah, I want to live in a nice place and I want my kids to have nice things, but I want to build a business and I want to build this business with other people so that they can
Yeah.
build their dreams and do the and that is a part I feel like of a fruitful life. But
Mm-hmm.
this whole sugar daddy sugar. Now listen, y'all live y'all best life. Don't
Do
get on here
it.
and be like, Lavina said, don't be a sugar. Lavina didn't say nothing.
No.
Lavina said what she said. Mari said what she said. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to make no memes or
Right.
do none of that. Okay, so
No.
on a serious note, before we wrap up, because I always have to take things extremely deep. I was going through and I was looking, and there was this book by Brinny Ware.
Mm-hmm.
And in this book, it was called like the 5 things that people regret at the end of their lives. And in these 5 things, one of them was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not what other people expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I stayed in touch with my friends. And I wish I let myself be happier.
Yeah.
So, in those 5 things, what do you think is a part of that you would immediately be like, I can take that into my life today and I'm going to do that?
Yeah. So I've my life goal, especially after college. So in my college career, I lived with my 4 best friends, and then my husband moved in with us too, which was great. But that's when I really realized that, man, I was so focused on trying to like be this successful and like everything that my parents couldn't do. My parents did, they gave up everything in Chile to bring us here, even if it meant less money, even meant a smaller home or whatever it may be, but it was more opportunity. So all I thought was like, I need to finish college. College was a piece of shit too, because I was an immigrant student here, no FAFSA, nobody wanted to give me fucking money. Like I couldn't work anywhere. So I was, girl, the things I did in college,
look, we ain't even got to talk about it.
like, come on. So once I moved in with my girls and I started seeing how like our lives are so, the way that we lived our lives were so different. I was so serious about everything. And one day, one of my best friends, Beth, was like, girl, you got to live, like just have fun and enjoy. Like what happens if you, the same thing, what happens if you like end up somehow like not here anymore? Are you gonna be happy with just all you did was work to attempt to get to this goal? And I'm like, damn, no. Like that is such a, it's not a sad life. That's kind of mean, but it's just, that's like sucks.
No,
you know,
that's real.
I would not want to do that. And like, I even watched my husband where he's very goal driven. Like he's very like about his money. He's a hard working man. Like he's working 6 days a week, 7 days a week when he needs to. But I could not do that because that's like sucking, for me, that's sucking the life out of me. Like I want to be able to live a life that where I was happy. I did everything I wanted to do, even if it's like I slept for 3 hours because I went to the club last night to hang out with my friends and I had dance rehearsal the next morning, you know, like, but both things are important to me. You know, there are things, we've been gifted this lifetime here, and why not take advantage of it? And that's why like the whole relationship thing, like I love and I love to love people, and like I am not gonna hold back on the way that I love people, whether it be my friends, whether it be platonically, non-platonically, whatever it may be. And it's just like, why not use the time that we have here to do that? I don't want to sit here and think of like, I want to be rich and famous and all this stuff, because sometimes you get to that lifestyle and it's not what you expected. Not what you thought. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be looking out my window and I see cameras all the time or things like that, because then I don't have privacy. I can't go to a grocery store by myself. Like that's wild.
I love a Trader Joe's.
Exactly.
Listen, I love Trader Joe's.
Right.
I think that's so real, because that's been something that I feel like I've understood as I got older. And then, like I said, specifically after COVID. And sometimes I have these moments where like Kanisha and I talked about the entrepreneurial lifestyle, but they're like, nobody is perfect, including myself. When you see like this production, when you see like the people coming on board, this is all like love and sacrifice and support from family, from friends, from like literally I will never be able to claim that I am self-made, and I'm okay with that. But something that I did focus on when I was younger, this is pre me having children, because after I had children, I felt like, oh, gotta be a big girl, gotta go get a job, gotta figure things out. But before that, I was like acting. I was like, okay, gotta be an actor. Went to school, trying to do plays, trying to do this, trying to do that, and I felt like me making it wasn't going to happen unless I got that big role, like that one big role. And there was even, you know, family and friends kind of encouraging me, no, that's the life you're supposed to live. That's the life you're meant to have. Like, you know, that's you. And that may be true. I still have a vision for myself. But I see now at the age that I am, and I see actors who have been acting since I was young. And they never said, from my perspective, it doesn't seem like they said, that's not big enough budget for me. That's not enough money for me. That's not, not enough people are going to see me in that. I can't. The ones that are really successful now, and I see them directing and executive producing and producing, they've been doing it. They didn't think one job was too small. And to me, that is the success. And if I wanted anything, it would be that. But one of those 5 things that I think that really hit me was I would let myself be happier. And that's something that I genuinely want. And I feel like I'm the person, like now if I think about it, I'm like, I only got $40 left. I'm about to get some Uber Eats. Y'all trying to
exactly. Like it's I'll get some. I'll get
Yeah,
some
like
money tomorrow
let's get
somehow.
some wings. Like
Yeah.
something gonna happen, something gonna pop off. But that is how I feel about it now because I'm like, I'd rather enjoy every single last dime, every dollar, every moment, every penny, the best that I can because tomorrow is not a guarantee.
No, it's not. No. And it is it and I don't think people think like that. Like I think people forget. Think they see their life and they're like, "Well, I have my entire life to live it." And I'm like, "Well, you think you do, but you don't really know. You don't
Exactly.
know what's going to happen." Like my husband's father had an accident when he was about 10 years ago and his whole life changed and changed his whole family's life. And now like do you think like that man maybe 10 years ago thought about this was going to happen to him? No. And like
Exactly.
now his whole life has changed and he has to live his life in a totally different way. And the things that he maybe thought that he wanted to do when he was 15, he wanted to live this big life. He can't do that no more because of the disability that he has now. And
Exactly.
like it's the smallest thing. Our life, our this body is so fucking fragile.
Yes.
Like it is so
Yes.
fragile. Like we always think about this, like our mental health. Yes, very
Yes.
yes. This is so fragile. Like I walk outside of my house, and unfortunately, I see the homeless people that are
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. It was that one downfall,
Yes.
like that one
One.
downfall,
Yes.
that one drug that was just
Girl.
too much. And then I'm like, damn, like it's so easy to get there that I feel like we just gotta enjoy it, like,
All the
and
time.
live, even if it's sometimes hard as fuck. It's
Yeah.
so hard sometimes, but it's better to do that than for it to be just like this easy 1, 2, 3, and then you're gone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Cry about it. Look,
Yeah.
cry.
It's
Let
okay to
yourself
have those
look,
days
cause
because
I.
I'm like, I have those days every month, every single month. I'm like, why am I crying? I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand.
It is
But it's
what it
that
is.
day.
It is what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up, but I want you to one tell everybody where they can find you and anything that you have coming up. But two, if there was one thing you wanted everybody to take away from this whole conversation, what would that be?
Okay. Well, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is beingme_Mari. I have all my music on there, my content. I'm really trying to be as active as I can. And the one thing I would leave, just love. Love is like the one thing that I have been like really working on this year. I feel like I lost in like lost that touch of like being a loving person for a really long time. I feel like I was really mean, and even my
Yeah.
girlfriends used to tell me like, "Why you don't have to be like that." And just love for me is like the foundation of living. If you love your life, if you love the people that you're with, if you're loving your job, love is everywhere, and love is so tangible. It's literally you can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can hug it, everything. And I
Yes.
think if you go through life with this like idea and this thought of loving life and loving what's happening around you and loving yourself, and that word love
Yes.
is really gonna pay off, because it's for me it's definitely paid off in these past 2 years where that's
Yeah.
all I've been exercising.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's dope. Well, you guys, you heard it here. You heard it here. If I was to tell you guys to take one thing away, it would just be live your best life by way of do things without any regrets. If you want to start a podcast, the year is ending. If you want to start a podcast, if you want to get on a health journey, if you want to make a song, make music, if you want to create artistry, dance, acting, whatever it is, literally just do it. With whatever you have, just do it. I'm gonna be just doing it with you. Mari's gonna be just
Yeah.
doing it with you. There's other people, even though they may be
Yes.
near or far, that are operating the same way. So I just encourage you guys to do that. Thank you, Mari, for joining me
Thank you for
today for
having
a
me today.
great
This was great.
conversation. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you subscribed and you joined on YouTube, if you was on Facebook, if you joined on TikTok, if you're listening on Spotify, wherever you are, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you shared this time with me. And so I'm thankful, and you already know I'm just